Yo, 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 yo. It's your boy Leroy. Got my guy Zach here with me. Appreciate everybody who did make their way over, who will be coming over. Appreciate all you guys. Hope everybody's been having a good weekend. But yeah, let's get into it, man. Zach, how you doing tonight, man? How things
Um,
been going for you?
I'm good. Been off for like 6 weeks. Been working, and then got sick, and then was grinding. Worked about 100 hours, and feel like 3 days, and it is what it is. But it was good. Glad
Yeah,
for the time off. Glad to be back.
for sure. Yeah, I hear you, bro, man. It's been a lot going on for sure. I feel you, man. I actually the last 2 days I want to say I slept probably about 8 hours in the last 2 days, man. It's been a busy one. So I feel where it's been going. Um but yeah, hope everybody's out there having a good weekend so far. We can go ahead and jump into this thing. The Colts have finalized their defensive staff. All right. And so obviously Lou Anarumo, then D line coach is still gonna be well, why did I just blank on his name? Our D line coach is still going to be Charlie Partridge.
Yeah, Partridge.
Linebackers coach going to be James Betcher that we hired, brought him over from the Bengals. There was Chris Hewitt, who we ended up getting from the Baltimore Ravens. And then lastly, we ended up getting Jerome Henderson from the New York Giants as another DB's coach. So we end up finalizing that out, man. Hopefully, everybody got a look to take a look at some of their history and whatnot. Did you have any thoughts on that staff?
Um, I'm excited to see what happens. I kind of hope with Lou Anarumo's scheme, he puts more trust into our defensive line coach because I really feel like it's basically going to be Partridge's job to create pressure and put the pressure on those guys up front. So Lou Anarumo can do what he does in the back end. Um, Also interested in seeing where this new passing game coordinator slash this guy we took from the Ravens or the Giants, who I forget whichever team he came from, how the Colts plan to use him because I'm pretty sure they already had a secondary coach. So I'm interested to see like what he's going to offer and bring to the coaching staff as well.
Yeah, most definitely. And I did like the hire, even though it didn't come from the New York Giants. I knew the New York Giants ain't been all that great lately, but I still did like that hire. I think it just puts an emphasis on what we're doing. You know,
Right.
you
Yeah.
look at pretty much what our struggle was last year as far as tackling. DBs obviously would struggle to cover some of the better receivers, and then just adding to that depth. We got Jalen Jones. Obviously, we've been looking for a lot of guys through the waiver, and then obviously Brands can't stay healthy, so that's another thing. What up, Sean? Appreciate you coming in.
Crap.
So yeah, just thought that was really, really good to see what we were targeting, and then obviously if we can fix the rest as we go, hopefully Lou can get everything targeted as far as defensively wise. Damn, I'm trying to get this shared out, man. That's not working for me. It
Yeah,
only
same
works for
here.
you.
I'm not having much success, but
Um, but yeah, man. So do you how you feel about the new defensive staff compared to what we had previously?
anything's an improvement at this point. Um, it's to my opinion, it's a clean slate. So I mean, would I love to see Lou Anarumo come in and just be like, "Yo, hey, it wasn't the players, it was coaching," and that might be to the effect that it could be coaching. But the way I see it is like if we give Ballard, or we gave Gus like 4 years, I think we need to give Lou that same leash, even though he might not be afforded that. But in my opinion, the only place to go is up. So I'm incredibly excited, and I look forward to seeing what he can do as a coach because I think if you look at his schemes and how he goes about it, I think the Colts got a good one.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I I really liked what we did. Like what we're targeting. Hopefully, I said before on a different post that hey, Ballard, it's on you. You know,
Yeah.
we've done what we needed to do as far as the staff. Really like what we did there. But at the end of the day, now we got to see what Balor's going to do to really put this all together and get this staff what they need. Because otherwise, if we don't, it's going to end up looking quite the same way.
Yeah, it's going to be a rebuild. I think we're to that point. It's either prove or we're going to blow it up and start anew. Unfortunately.
Yo, what up, Chad? I'm about to share this out individually, bro. This is
Going old school.
real old school.
Real old school.
Anything you want to get into?
Yeah, man. Combines this week. You excited? Anything you looking forward to?
Oh,
Anything?
I always look forward to the DBs, man. Always looking forward to the DBs.
I feel that. Me being a former fat guy, just to share a
What
little
up,
bit,
Chad? Not too much.
I say former fat guy because I've lost 120 pounds.
There we
But
go. Congratulations.
I'm not done yet. But thanks everybody. Um, being a former fat guy, I enjoy watching the fatties, both offensively and defensively, because to me that's where football starts. That's where the gravy's made. That's where your biscuits are buttered. So I look forward to seeing who's going to be the guy that has no business being a first round pick that shoots up the draft board on the defensive side of the ball, and who's the offensive tackle that has a terrible combine, but yet when they put the pads on, he's just a gamer. Like every year, there's one. So I look forward to finding out who it is this year. I always do. And then this year, I would say arguably the greatest running back class ever coming out. So I look forward to seeing who and how are they. How many teams are going to draft a running back this year in the first round, and who's it going to be? So that intrigues me.
Yeah, definitely does. Yeah, I hear you on that. Just because like I love the DBs, like you said, just because that was my position. That's what I
I feel
played.
that.
So I want to see all my DBs. But obviously, the game is built in one in the trenches. So I want to see where that goes. Like you said, running back class. I said multiple times last year that Ballard should have took one, find one, however you do it. You know, give me that running back. I wanted them in the building. Wanted to see us get that done, but you can only do so much. And then so this year got the same thing. And then obviously I want to see what we do with the secondary. I would
Oh no. Oh no.
get get a real through everything. And finally upgrade that room to get a first round corner, get a shutdown corner, a lockdown corner, somebody that can really make a difference for us. Or best safety in the draft, whatever it may be. But I would really, really, really like for us to overhaul this defense, and especially a defensive backroom.
Um, I think that's a possibility and something that should be done. Overhauling the defense, more so secondary. I think our front seven, if you call it that, our front five, with Z is okay, but I would love to see everybody besides really Kenny completely get replaced because I'm not a big fan of Nick Cross. He was okay, but I don't think he's a starting caliber safety in this league. That's just my opinion.
You say you didn't think who was?
Nick Cross. I didn't think Nick Cross is a starting caliber safety in this league.
You like
Uh,
Nick?
I thought he did it. I think he did okay, but I don't believe he's starting caliber. Like you're telling me, you feel confident with him out there playing in the box versus other people covering middle. No, I don't. Like I just don't. Like to me, safety is one of the most important positions on defense. I'd rather go get an experienced vet and or go pay the Pied Piper and move up and get an absolute dog from day one.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. To me, it could be safety corner, whatever. I'd like
Right.
to really see, overhaul in that room. I mean, like like depending on what Lou has, I'm pretty sure Lou will have a plan for what he'd like to see or what he'd have going for it and whatnot. Um, but I definitely would want to see some differences as far as um, the starting corners. Like it needs to be true competition there. We need to have some true talent there, be able to add to that room. And then obviously, whatever we're doing with free safety, um, or strong safety, whichever one the guys are going to play. Julian Blackman is pretty much going to be the odd man out here. I don't think we're going to re-sign him again. So whatever we do with Nick Cross, I think those other three positions gotta be completely upgraded. Whatever you do, you
Yeah.
have to find guys that are better than what you currently have.
Yeah, absolutely. Agree 1,000%. Like it's got to be massive over. In my opinion, yeah, everyone's got to be upgraded. That's just me, in my opinion. Everyone is projecting us to take a tight end. Well, I was on team no Bowers last year. This year I'm on. I want Warren on the first round or nobody. So I would agree with that sentiment. Give me Tyler Warren or don't. And if we don't, then I think the Colts messed up in the first round.
Yeah. So it's so crazy to hear that you're all in on a tight end. I swear it's like so
I
crazy.
mean,
I remember
last year I
you've
wasn't,
always
but
been the guy to never want to go with the tight end ever, ever. Like it's never been
um,
your thing.
well, first off, I just look at it like this is we have essentially a quarterback that is developing. So giving him a tight end is a necessary evil. Like, hey, Dad, thanks for the cheese. I'll hit that up later. Um, Getting a tight end is a necessary evil, and if that helps AR be successful, then I'm all for it. Um, Not having a tight end and expecting AR to do things over the middle with a guy like Downs, yes, it's doable, but it's certainly harder. I would argue that the Colts system doesn't really use a tight end. They don't use a tight end. Um, the Colts have never had a valuable one to actually use. The last good tight end the Colts had was Dallas Clark, and then shortly after him, it was Jack Doyle. But when the Colts have had a valuable tight end, he's certainly been used. Now, I think if you get a guy like Tyler Warren, in my opinion, that's a 60 catch tight end. Like he's getting a minimum at least 60 catches on the year, if not more. That's a true one. So like you feature the tight end. So that's why I say if you go out and you get a Tyler Warren, you know what he offers. He opens up the middle of the field. He's fast enough to get behind linebackers. He's too big for safeties. He's too big for corners. And if you can't get him the ball in the passing game, you already know you can line him up and put him at Wildcat quarterback. You can put him at running back. He's athletic enough to do that. So the way I see it is like my age of thinking in that aspect was kind of stubborn. But another aspect, I think that it is much needed for the success of the Colts and AR in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you on that one. I just definitely I mean, I'm with whatever they do. I think the biggest piece that we need is free agency. That's got to
Yeah,
be it.
yeah,
Looks like your dad, or no, your dad jumping in there
yeah.
says you're gonna be okay with Kirk Cousins now.
I mean, I want to say I know you're kidding, but the way that Ballard has been, this clearly wouldn't shock me because, like, I read a stat where like the Atlanta could release him and he'd still be on the hook for like 90 something million from Atlanta this year, even after the June 1st cut date. And like the Colts want to bring in competition for AR in quotes. Well, I feel like if they don't get Justin Fields and Kirk Cousins gets released, it very much could happen. So I'm not going to rule that out completely, but
Yeah,
who knows? Balor's going to
yeah,
pick up
no,
Rodgers? No.
I, I absolutely do not want Kirk Cousins. He needs to stay the hell away from Indianapolis. Don't want him. Don't want anything to do with him. He go somewhere else. Don't want no Kirk Cousins, man. Like none of that. Don't can't do no Kirk Cousins. Don't want to do Kirk. Don't want Kirk. Yeah, no, that'd be just as bad as when we had Matt Ryan. Be terrible. Be a huge contract that we need to pick up again at the quarterback position. Um, yeah, just no Kirk. Ain't
I
gonna
feel that.
Kirk ain't gonna work for me.
Chad, I don't want this evil on my team. Oh, Balor's going to pick up
Sorry if
Rogers.
it's weird for everybody. We
I
on
don't want.
YouTube tonight. Zach, hey, check the private message, bro.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
what is it? Chad says Ballard's gonna go pick up Rogers. Also got so hey, anybody who's watching on YouTube, currently right now on Facebook, if y'all can share it around, please help us out. But Nathan is saying here what you think of maybe bringing back Naeem Hines. Yeah, we
No.
talked about that a little bit earlier. Me and Zach were both on the no Naeem Hines train, so don't really know if that'd be something that we'd be willing to do. I think he's capable. If he could still play well, and get the job done, that would be nice. But I'm just not totally in favor of just bringing you guys back because they were former Colts. Not saying that you're saying that, but just what I would be thinking. I would want to, give me a young guy, give me a young, talented guy, bring him in, add him to the room. That's what I'd prefer.
Hey, this sounds good on the Kicking with the Crew page. Like
Perfect.
it's excellent, man. So
So basically, I can still keep us on Facebook somehow and have it going there. They can't
fair enough.
see you, but they can hear you.
Oh, they don't need to see me. My
They
voice is
just
way
gotta
better. So
see my head on there.
yeah.
I just need one more phone, and then I can put us on X as well.
No, we talking about Nathan's talking about Naheem. Is he
Yeah,
asking if
yeah.
we
What do
bring
you
Naheem
think?
back?
Maybe bringing back
Um,
Naeem Hines.
unless he's coming back to retire, I'm not against it, or I'm not a fan of it. Um, but I think dude's like 31, coming off a freak accident with a ski mobile or whatever the heck happened there, where he blew out his ACL last year. Not necessarily a fan. Don't really want Naheem. I appreciate what he did, but yeah, go younger. Go get a dude later or an undrafted guy who can actually play. Because I promise you, there's going to be a ton of undrafted kids who are going to go to camp and tear it up because this might be the greatest running back class ever when it talks about talent wise coming out into the NFL. Like this running back class is so deep that I truly believe there's going to be some dogs that are not drafted that go on and have some crazy careers.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, and that's why I would definitely not. I'd go younger. Give me in a
No,
younger guy, and basically just revamp that room and get younger because we know JT isn't getting any younger. Get some fresh legs in there.
no.
That'd be the route that I'd like to see.
Rogers crystal and palm reading tells him Indy is where he needs. No, that's McAfee, bro. Rogers, that's McAfee telling him that. Like, I don't want Aaron Rodgers. Like, Aaron Rodgers can stay in his dark little cave, smoking his ayahuasca, doing whatever else he does. Like, I just keep him away from Indy, please.
I don't know if you can share around that live, but
I'll
a bunch
try
of
it. Absolutely.
so yeah. How you feeling about? I know we talked about it kind of off air. I know you say you didn't look too much at receivers, but how would you feel about adding to that receiver room? There's that speedster out of Georgia that I really like that I wouldn't mind
I'm at a
adding to a
different.
room.
I kind of have a different of opinion, just because like I really feel like we have so much young talent and
Uh-huh.
Downs and Mitchell and Pierce. We got Pittman, but I would just love to go get another vet, like another veteran. And I'm not talking like an old dude, like played for the Bears last year, was a Charger, like an Allen type receiver. I'm talking like like a proven vet who can still play, who but is just another guy who come in and kind of put pressure on Pittman Jr., kind of put pressure on Pierce, kind of put pressure on Downs, just a vet to come in and show, hey, yo, there's more than one way to do this and be a vet. And I might not be like, the vocal leader that Pittman Jr. is, but I'm here on business. I'm going to get mine. And, I think that to me, in my opinion, like we have all this young talent. We either play the young talent or, yeah, my dad's coming in with hot ones. What Cincinnati wants to do. I'll get to that in a minute, Pops. But, I look at it like adding a proven veteran receiver is never a bad thing. To caveat this, Zach knows the Colts are trading Nelson for Higgins. Absolutely not. I talked to Dad earlier. I told Dad I want like 3 first-round picks to even consider it.
Yeah.
Because Nelson's an All-Pro and he is basically the heartbeat of the Colts.
Somebody
So,
said on Twitter the other day they were talking about
at least 3.
trade Jermaine Pratt for Quentin Nelson in like a late round pick or something. I was like, okay, go ahead and send Joe Burrow too.
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah, no way.
Like, no way.
Tell you what, I'll give you DeForest Buckner for Higgins because like I'm out on D-Buck. D-Buck's getting a little old in the tooth. I think he needs to get replaced here soon. So, then I've kept that in my bag. I've been quiet about that. Like Buckner's getting a little old in the tooth, the back injury. Like it's about time. Like it's about time. And that's where I'm at with it. But adding a veteran receiver, to go back to veteran receiver, I think would be much needed. Do I think it needs to be a high end guy? No. But that Jennings kid last year from Arizona or from San Francisco, perfect type of addition to the room. Like perfect type. A guy who just produces, who's quiet, isn't a me guy, but someone who just shows up, comes to work, and will put pressure on guys like Pierce to do what he did again this year. Will show Downs how to be a pro. All that. That's just my opinion.
I'm shocked you said get rid of Defoe. That's
bro, here's the thing. Defensive his position of 3 technique requires him to be a dog for as long as possible. And in a way I kind of feel like the Colts have failed him by not putting enough around him until here recently. When they first got him, it was literally him. And so here recently he's had the help, but they've not done anything with it. They've not Rondell Moore. Yo, hey, if Atlanta wasn't going to use him, absolutely. Yeah, he got traded from Arizona to Atlanta. I think, hey, that's ideal. I would love that. He's the exact type of veteran receiver, just another able-bodied guy because injuries are going to happen. And in my opinion, the offense last year when Josh Downs was out didn't look as explosive. People couldn't fill his job. So that's why I say draft a tight end, add a veteran receiver. I think you're set offensively. Find a good running back to back up JT to extend his career. You're set offensively. As for Defoe, I love Defoe. I appreciate Defoe, but I think he's got maybe 1 or 2 years left of being an elite dude, and then it's time the Colts move off of Defoe.
Yeah.
That's why I'm all
crazy. I couldn't imagine getting rid of DeForest Buckner. Really couldn't.
Oh, I don't think the Colts ever will. I think he'll retire a Colt. I truly believe that. But in my opinion, if this whole production is the only thing that matters and Ballard actually sticks with it, then he's got to have that tough conversation because besides that back injury, when healthy, DeForest is great. But how healthy is he going to be? If he continues to stay healthy and continues to produce, keep him. But the moment his play falls off and he starts getting injured, I think you need to look elsewhere.
Oh man, so the crazy part is that the fact that you say that, I can somewhat get it, but I would really, really need, I would need to, really get something back for him that's going to be crazy good.
I think you're going to look at. I think if Ballard stays GM, and let's say the Colts are successful this year, playoffs. The pressure's kind of simmered down, hypothetically. So the Colts are in the playoffs, pressure's kind of simmered down. Um, and DeForest is solid. I don't think they move on from him. But if everyone has a great year and DeForest has a bad year, I think the Colts need to move off from ASAP. And the way I see it is they're probably going to move off of him and get through the draft because no one's going to take a 30. Only a dumb team, only a dumb, desperate team, and or a championship type of team is going to want a DeForest Buckner, and they're going to be like, "Hey, dude, here's a third-round pick." Like
Yeah.
we're not going to hose the team into giving up a second-round pick. I'm amazed we gave away and got DeForest for a first-round pick from San Francisco, and that was it. Like when we got him, because guys like DeForest don't grow on trees. So I understand the caution of moving off a guy who's arguably the third best defensive tackle in the NFL in the past decade.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, see, I get it and I hear you, but it's just like I gotta like I need something back. I need a lot back.
man,
Something.
and I don't believe that if the Colts move off DeForest, and I've kept this to myself for quite a while. Like to me, this is this year and next year, and that's it for DeForest in a Colts uniform. That's why they only extended him 1 year. I think it's this year and next year. The Colts trading out of the first round for more multiple mid-round picks. Oh, Dad's asking good questions. Um, I say maybe this year, maybe next year, and then you move off of DeForest. Like that's just it because by then he'll be 33, and I don't know any 33-year-old three techniques that are still playing at a crazy high level.
Yeah,
So
I mean, luckily this defensive tackle draft class has a lot of different
yeah,
guys in it. I wouldn't say that wouldn't call them all like the first Buckner level or anything
no,
like that, but there's still a lot of guys that we could grab and come in and
yeah,
play. There's a lot of talent in this draft class, a lot of depth in this draft class. It'd be tough to replace a guy like DeForest Buckner, but it would take a large cap hit off. Actually, it might still be some pretty big dead cap, but would take a lot off for us. But we'd be hurting if we don't replace him immediately.
oh, absolutely, I completely agree. You don't move off on DeForest unless you have a plan of action to replace him with an upper echelon type guy, because then what are we doing? It's time to rebuild.
I cannot share this more than one time. This is pissing me off.
My dad said, "What do you guys think about the Colts trading out of the first round for more multiple?" I'd be mad.
Yeah,
I'd be real mad if Ballard did that. That's the Colts' biggest problem. They don't have enough first round talent and enough first round playmakers on the team. So would I be mad if the Colts were like at 14 and they traded down to like 32? No, because they're still in the first round and they still picked up a couple extra picks and they still get a guy who's a first round caliber and they can still get that extra fifth round or that extra fifth year option, which I believe is incredibly valuable. But I would be mad if the Colts just up and dipped out altogether like they did the year that Montez Sweat was penciled in to go to the Colts. And they're like, no, we'll trade. We'll trade again, and then we'll draft some dude out of Temple named Rock Ya-Sin. So,
yeah, no, I definitely don't want to trade out of the first round. That'd be a waste. Again, like we're not like it's not. I mean, it's not to say that we don't have a lot to build upon, but it's not like we're going to be an immediate contender and we need to add depth pieces. So, I mean, unless you find a way that there's going to be multiple starting caliber players that are going to slip to the second round like early, and we could get a haul of like 2, 3 second round draft picks, then I could probably come along with that. But I just wouldn't see the immediate impact for that to help us in any way, shape, or form. It just wouldn't make sense to me.
yeah, I'm not trading multiple for. I'm not trading out of the first round, unless it's like, hey, we'll give you like this year's first, and you take next year's first, and some crazy trade for a team who wants to move up and get a guy. But beyond that, yeah, Colts need to stay put at 14 and see who falls to them.
Most definitely.
Comment section. Who are some guys you want to see the Colts draft? Like free agency wise, or no, yeah, in the draft, and then free agency. Is there anybody out there that you guys would love to see the Colts add? One player in free agency that I've read that is completely done with his organization. Injury issues, I know, but like I think adding a guy like Jair Alexander, man, he's the only guy that I want the Colts to really go out and get. I know he's hurt a lot, and like, sure, he might have an issue with me, but I think that if you find out if he's really a me guy or he just hates Green Bay, I really think you can be successful here in Indianapolis just because I really believe that there's a lot of guys who once they get here absolutely love the place with Zaire and DeForest and those guys coming and playing. So I would love to see the Colts go out and get a Jair Alexander. Like that would make me mad happy. I would definitely pull for that day one.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. You said draft, right?
Either draft or free agency, yeah.
Yeah, we got Chris Jackson in the comments. He said James Pierce Jr. or
From
Starks in the first
Tennessee.
round. Yep, from
Ooh.
Tennessee or Starks.
Wouldn't
Lot of
be
Starks fans.
wouldn't be mad at Starks. I only worry about Pierce Jr. in the run game because he's little. He's like 227 pounds playing defensive end. So like, how's that going to hold up? And if the Colts you draft him and you play him as like a hanging D tackle or a hanging D end where he only plays with a 2 point stance, or that's the only thing I worry about. Just how small he is in weight wise. I'm sure like any. I don't. Again, this is I don't watch SEC big football. I watch Big Ten ball because that's local, but like SEC ball, I don't. I basically watch like small conference football because that's fun for me. But yeah, Pierce is a dog. Absolutely, he's the kind of guy who you pair with Latu on the other side, and I think would be nasty.
Yeah, he could be one of those guys that really, you know, um, that that a lot of people like right now. They're it's like going around with the giving him the bad name and stuff like that. So,
Why?
um,
So he
I
falls.
mean, they just. I mean, I don't know what it is. There's always these pages that come out all the time, and then they start crapping on a player and yada yada yada. Um, and so, um, it's really just for whatever reason dropping his draft stock or trying to at least. But I think he'd be a legit player. Um,
Absolutely.
I don't think it'd be necessary for us to add a defensive end just because of how many ends we already have, and like you could only play so many. So it just it's not necessarily one of my favorite positions that I would go for again. And if you did, you immediately trade Quiddy Pay if you went that route. Um,
I thought he's a
so
free agent.
no, he we picked up his 5th year option.
We did.
Yeah, yeah,
Shows you how much I know. I thought he was legit gone. I thought he
yeah.
was like
No,
deuces.
no, he's on a 5th year option. So he will be with us. So it wouldn't necessarily make a ton of sense to draft another defensive end when we already have that. But like I said, if you're gonna trade one of those guys and really kind of go from there, then I can get with it. I can understand it. But I just think that pass rush is really going to need to be formidable at some point because we keep banking on a pass rush to get us through, and then secondary doesn't really get the job done for us.
Right.
So
Um, Nick Chubb, is he a free agent?
Nick Chubb,
Running back from the Browns?
did
Did
he?
did they
Pretty
let him
sure.
hit free agency?
I thought he had a contract. I
Yeah, I
thought
thought they
he.
gave him a contract, Pops. I mean, he's coming off an ACL or a second ACL injury, so that kind of leaves me weary. I wouldn't really go after that unless it's like I'll come to Indy and be a backup, but
Yeah, I wouldn't want Nick Chubb personally.
no. Nick
Out of
Chubb and Aaron Jones are the top two free agent running backs.
we don't need any more injury players and injuries from players and whatnot. So I don't know where the hell I should have shared this to, but I tried.
Fair enough.
Um, but yeah, so I just wouldn't take any more players with major injuries. We've had enough of them. We got enough of them. And then I mean, if you can get them for like like 2 years, 2 million or something like that, then I guess it wouldn't be totally bad. Khalil Mack, I'd take a flyer on Khalil Mack, but I think he also has been
He's like
dealing with
30.
some yeah, yeah.
He's like 35. Like,
Hey, but he
I,
could come teach a lot of these young guys that could potentially need the help and whatnot.
yeah.
So
But
I
then that's
wouldn't
my
be.
argument. I mean, then you're, what about Pierce, though? I'd rather go get James Pierce.
No, because like in free agency, you're just adding a vet. You're not losing capital with it. With adding James Pierce, that's gonna take your first or likely your second round draft picks. If I mean, I don't even think he's making it to the second round. So, do you
No.
really want to spend that first round capital on that and then be like, okay, we still got to fix the secondary? So, again, like if we went out and we got like Charvarius Ward, we added
Right.
another vet safety that can really help us out. And then added, another corner that could possibly be available, which I don't think you're going to be like if we added Charvarius Ward, Javon Hollins, and then like one more corner, then I'd be like, okay, the corner room has been upgraded, so let's go ahead and get a James Pierce. Then you can just work on that defensive line.
Now,
But I don't see that as something that we could or would do.
you said Hollins. That's the
Yeah.
safety from Miami that everyone thinks will come to Indy, right?
Yes.
He's the one that everyone believes that will come to Indy because when Lou Anarumo was in Miami, he had him drafted.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right. I mean, that's a pick. If they made that happen in free agency, I certainly wouldn't be mad. Like that's the in the box safety that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But is Bubba Baker a free agent
Who?
for Arizona?
Buda Baker?
Bubba Baker, yeah,
Buda
Buda
Baker?
Baker.
No,
My
the
bad.
Cardinals. The Cardinals re-signed him.
And then Huafunga, he's available
Yeah, so
from San
that's what I'm saying.
Francisco.
So like if we went out and completely overhauled the secondary and it wasn't like
Yeah.
I felt like we needed to spend capital on it, then I'd be all for it. Like go ahead, take a defensive end. You know what I'm saying?
Braun.
We got a new commenter here in the on the Facebook one. Chandler Rhodes, appreciate you coming in. But he says, I'm joining late to the convo, but what are you guys' number one positions to take in the draft?
Ooh.
And Ash also says, what about Denzel Ward? Ash, to your question about Denzel Ward, that's a real tough one because we have to give a lot up for him. To answer your question there, Chandler, I think for number one for me would have to be corner. I think we just have to get better there. But I'm personally not opposed to take Tyler Warren because I do think that would be a massive, massive upgrade from where we've been for a while with tight end. So, but I'd say corner would likely be number one for me because we got to stop band-aiding it.
Like my biggest, like as a fan, my biggest need, or like
Yeah, yeah.
as
Your personal.
the
What do you
Colt.
feel? What do
Oh,
you feel is your? What do you feel like the Colts? Yourself, your opinion. What do you feel like the Colts is the number one position to take in the draft?
tight end. Give me a tight end. Give me Tyler Warren.
Tight
Like
end.
I think he's, in my opinion, I think he's that good of a prospect. I think
Mm,
he's a top five athlete. Athlete, maybe sliding at five. I think he's a top five athlete in the entire draft. Like we're talking like dudes that I believe have day one impact. You can probably give 80 catches. Travis Kelsey, George Kittle type impact is Tyler Warren. Like that, I do believe if you miss on Warren, you've missed on a generational type of talent. And I wasn't a fan of Bowers last year. I know I was getting killed last year because I was like, no, pass, no. But these guys told me about Warren late in the process. They're like, hey, this kid from Penn State's legit. And I didn't watch any of it. I was like, who? Huh? And then I watched his bowl game before, or one game before they went to the college football playoff. and then I've just watched his tape, and to me, I think he's that good. So I look at it and like
Oh,
say, if you have AR and you want AR to take off, you unlock AR, you get him a tight end. If AR still sucks after that, you can move on. You understand AR wasn't the truth, but if AR pops off, it's probably has a lot to do with the fact that AR got better and that you went and got to do the tight end. So that's just my opinion.
yeah, so there you have it, Chandler. So mine would be corner. Zach's going tight end just because he thinks that that's what we need to, if you got that Tyler Warner sitting there, you got to take that position. Me personally, just as a team, think corner needs to, really get upgraded.
Oh,
So if we
as
draft
a
that,
team,
that's my thing.
I completely agree. It's the safeties, it's the corner. As a fan, I could care less. I want the tight end. As someone who's a smart, like with a football mind and trying to think about this like the best way about it, it's got to be corner and safety. You've got to go 1, 2, and 3 corner and safety, and then worry about the tight end of 4. But as a fan, I could give a crap less. We're scoring 100 points a game, bro. We're going 4 verts. We're doing all that fun stuff. Give me Warren. Like as a fan, that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Mm.
My Bengals are gonna go get Bond from Philly. Hey, he was a bust up until like he went to Philadelphia, and I kind of feel like he's gonna be a bust if he leaves Philadelphia. So like, I would just stay in Philly if I'm Zach Bond.
Ash is saying, I think AR would do great with Tyler Warren. I think AR needs a Tyler Warren. You get that safety blanket, it makes everything feel so much better for you.
And to me, that's what I think this is about. They talk about competition. I don't believe the Colts are actually going to bring in anybody worth a damn a quarterback as much as I want them to. So
Yeah.
like, I think it's going to end up being like, oh hey, here's our backup. This is freaking Drew Lock. Like ooh, Drew Lock, some competition. So like I look at it like it's gonna be some scrub, and it's basically gonna be like competition. So here's Tyler Warren to help with competition. So
Yeah, man, I'm so out on worrying about the quarterback position.
I don't even
Like,
care at this
dude,
point.
I really don't. Like, dude, like sink or swim with AR. Don't waste the money there. Use it on something else to add
Yeah,
talent, add capital, whatever. And we'll find out with what AR can do, whether he's going to sink or swim this year. Just add to build to this team to be ready to, either make a jump or be ready to take another quarterback. But
yep.
I'm not, and I don't want to watch a Drew Lock or some other. It's Daniel Jones or some shit, bro. I'm not trying to see it. I'm not trying to see it. I'm not.
Same
I'm not.
here. Same here. Like, because I do see some message boards with the Colts and like, hey, go out and get Justin Fields. My next question is why? Why?
Yeah,
Why?
it'd be
Like,
basically you're just adding in a more advanced AR. That's it.
right?
Like you're not doing
Why?
anything different.
Like, I mean, if you have AR, you have Justin Fields. Both are one right now. Both are one read quarterbacks. AR can throw an incredible deep ball, but if it's not there, he likes to run. Justin Fields literally did that in Pittsburgh. If
Well,
his first
that's
read
what we
isn't
do
there,
need AR to development with more because he does try and stick too much to being a pocket passer when he
right,
really is a runner.
right,
So he needs to start taking off more when it's not there. I think he thinks a bit too much and wants to sit there. And sometimes, hey, take off and
bro,
run. Bro. Use your
you're six.
superpower.
Yeah, go be Superman. It's okay. Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, that's where I'm at with AR. I'm not worried about AR. The less we talk about AR, the better. I just want that man to work. So that's
As to
all it
the
is.
defense is deep this year in the draft. Dave Stewart is saying here, appreciate you coming in, Dave. I know we got a weird operation going on right now. But if we take a tight end, we can live with all the offensive pieces as they are, especially if Fries comes back. So basically, just saying everything will be fitted up piece by piece on offense.
Right.
Free agents should be defensive and balance of the draft go 3 to 5 players on defense, and then with 6 and 7 being on the O line. So yeah, completely agree, Dave. I think most of it's got to be, I would love to see a lot of it be. I mean, even free agency could be, mostly defensive. You said that there, so I completely agree with you there. And then with our 6 and 7 man rotation on the offensive line, but obviously we know Ballard isn't going to completely neglect the trenches, so we know he'll probably take another fourth, fifth, sixth round lineman. That'll be a developer swing type of guy. So yeah,
Um,
completely agree with you. I think we definitely got to make sure that defense gets overhauled.
oh, I think the defense will get overhauled. I do agree with free agency probably being mostly defense.
Mhm.
Um, I will say I do. It wouldn't shock me to see Ballard address the offensive line depth in free agency, and then spend the rest of this thing defensively, like straight up in the draft on defense, specifically secondary or you know D line, but offensively, like it'll be interesting to see because to me, I think it sets the tone what they do with Braden Smith. Do they outright cut Braden Smith or do they rework his deal? Because if they cut Braden Smith, cool. And then I think they reuse that money to sign Will Fries because they still got to pay uh, Bernard Raymond. Bernie's got to get paid. He's played like one of the best left tackles in the league, underrated. So he's got to get paid. And how they treat Braden Smith, whether hey Braden, you rework your deal or we're going to cut you, to me will signify how they handle the offensive line. If he works his deal and they re-sign Fries, um, then I think that you'll see them draft more depth in the later rounds. If they outright cut Braden Smith and they run with the guys you have, it wouldn't shock me to see them use fifth and sixth round picks on more offensive line depth because that's
I
essentially
can,
who like Ballard is. Even though I don't agree with it, like I wouldn't agree with taking offensive line that early. 100%. I would be like, go sixth and seventh round offensive line. But Ballard, if he finds a good one, he can't. He did that with Bortolini. Like Bortolini had no business being taken at all by the Colts, in my opinion. And the Colts went and took him, and it's
I
paid
mean,
off.
I still think it saved our ass when we took them. So I'm
Oh,
not.
absolutely. I'm not going to sit here and say, but the Colts had
Yeah,
no business. The Colts had no business taking Bortolini. They could have used that on again, a defensive back, 100%.
yeah, but
Um,
I mean, I do agree, but I don't know. Like you look at some of the late round defensive backs that we took, like Micah Abraham, my boy,
well, Bortolini was a fourth round pick.
Jalen Simpson from Auburn. We didn't even get to see these guys play as Colts, so I get what you're saying,
Right.
but like we see more DBs get cut than we do offensive linemen that we
Right.
end up drafting. So
Right. Colts don't cut offensive linemen. If you get drafted and you're an offensive lineman of the Colt, you basically signed your meal ticket because, even Danny Pinter, who's a seventh round pick, never got cut. And you'd assume he would get cut. So,
Exactly. So those trenches stay. Dave, I read it a little bit wrong, but you were saying exactly what I was thinking. You go a lot of defensive pieces early, whether it be free agency in the draft, and then Dave also said in the 6th and 7th rounds to take some
mm,
offensive linemen, take them a bit
I'd
later.
agree. I'd
He
agree
was
with
saying
that.
the same
Yeah.
thing. Um, and then yeah, Ash, I hear you on the Justin Fields of it, but we don't want to pay more for pretty much the same thing that we're gonna get, and it ain't gonna be that much better. And Denzel Burke, she's asking is Denzel Burke.
Receiver? Receiver from
Nah,
Missouri?
no. The cornerback from
State?
Ohio State. Yeah, Ohio State.
Stay away from Ohio State DBs.
I see. I be worried about that too. But look what happened last year with
Outside of outside of
who?
Denzel Ward, they've all either been injury hurt. They've all been
No, because I always worry about USC's defensive players, and
mhm,
the Houston Texans end up drafting that DB from USC,
who's
and
balled out.
huh?
Who balled out
Yeah, it was one of the
opposite of
best in the
Stingley.
league, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. So it was like, man, I'm always iffy about some of them schools like that. But man, like it's like when you like a talent, you like it. And I mean, I wouldn't say I'm totally in on Burks like I was on. I don't know why I keep forgetting his name, but dude from the Houston Texans, he really played well, and I was like thinking I was hoping the Colts might draft him, but I was
No, he
scared because he went
he
to USC.
he made the Colts look bad last year. AR threw 2 picks to him in 2 different games.
And so that's what
So
I'm
yeah,
saying, man. Like, man, so I don't know. It'd be some of them. Um,
Dad.
but your dad, Cecil was saying here, any top college baller you hope falls into the Colts draft spot. I'm hoping Nick Emanwari from South
You
Carolina,
took my
safety.
guy.
I'm hoping I'm hoping he will fall to the second round and we
You
can take him.
took
I know that's a
Demarco.
long shot,
You took
but
my guy. I was
that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I really
flip.
like. Like if things could go the way I want them to, man, we get either Tyler Warren or we get Will Johnson at the 14th pick, and then we get Nick Emanwari or we get Xavier Watts in the second round. Those would
Wouldn't be
be
mad. Wouldn't be mad
those
at
would
any of
be
those.
those would be some dream scenarios for me for those
Uh,
first two rounds.
all right. I mean, those are logical and excellent picks. I got to go with. I want Scattaboo in a Colts uniform. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Like I want Fatty Scatty in a Colts blue uniform, backing up JT, taking about 15 to 20 touches off JT. I think dude's going to be electric. Definitely a fun story. For a more serious answer, um, just a guy that not really talked about a whole lot, but I actually really like another dude from Ohio State DBs. But I think because he plays safety,
Mm-hmm.
might be a little bit of a good thing. The Ransom kid, Layson Ransom
Lisa Ramsey.
from the safety, super physical in the run game. Kind of an issue in the passing game, but he's an in the box safety, and in Lou Anarumo's defense, in the box safety.
I feel like that would kind of be a detriment to Nick Cross though. Like,
Well, this is me. I don't like Nick Cross.
oh,
I've never liked
okay,
Nick
okay,
Cross.
yeah, I see
So,
where you're
like,
going.
for me, move on from Nick Cross or make him play linebacker. With EJ Speed leaving, slide Nick down to linebacker.
Yeah, but he'd be
Like,
really undersized for there.
but he's great at tackling, though. Like,
I
he comes
mean,
down, he tackles well. I don't. To me, I don't want to. I don't want him in the secondary. Like, if you rehaul the secondary, we're
yeah,
not
but could
keeping.
you just imagine if we
We ain't
gotta
keeping
play a power football team and just
Baltimore
imagine Nick Cross sitting on that weak side.
for sure. I
Like,
just
I
don't like
don't
Nick
know.
Cross. Like, I just don't like Nick Cross. So the Ransom kid, I really like. Um, Defensively, that Jade Barron dude from Texas, I think he's a stud.
I like
And then this Thomas kid from Florida State, the Azaira.
Isaiah,
I have no clue.
Thomas.
I would. I
I
don't
ain't
want to
looking at it right
disrespect.
now, so it's hard for me
I
to
don't
pronounce
want to
it. But
disrespect this man's name
Thomas
because I
from
do.
the cornerback from
But
Florida
yeah,
State. A
but I think
lot of people got him
he's a
going in the first
stud
round.
too. He's a stud. Reminds me of a Rogers Cromartie. Kind of weird. Another Florida State DB, Cromartie. Yeah, Antonio Cromartie. Reminds me a lot of him. Tall, lengthy. Doesn't have the 13 kids though. So like that's cool. But
I'm not the biggest fan of them, but I did think their defense played pretty well despite their offense being absolutely horse trash and killed their season.
Florida State. Well,
Yeah.
Florida FS who can stay sucking forever. So I mean, I don't care.
Ash said that who
Can we get
was
a
the
cat?
mock draft, Ash? She said somebody had mock drafted Denzel Burt to the Colts at
At 14?
pick 116.
What's that? A fourth round, fifth round pick?
Yeah, I would take that. That's
I mean, if
great
he's there,
value for. I mean, yeah. So I wouldn't be mad at that at all.
I mean, I got a bunch of dudes I like. My favorite corner in the draft didn't even play this year because he came off ACL, and I want the Colts, going out and get him, but they won't. But like, he's a dude. I mean, there are so many dudes in this draft. Dave Stewart asked, with the deep running back class, do you think the guy can get a guy in the fourth if we choose to? Oh yeah, I absolutely. I also believe that like the Colts could probably not draft a running back and still get a dude who's incredible. You know, to me, the my best running back that I have in this entire draft class, besides the top two of Genty, who I think is going to end up being a Bengal, and Omarion Hampton, who I think he's going to end up somehow being a Jet and get drafted way too early. Um, to me, my favorite running back is Travion Henderson from Ohio State. I see so much of Zeke Elliott in his
I
game.
I love
So
Trey Anderson.
so
I see
much of
I see
Zeke
better
Elliott in
than
his
Zeke.
game.
I
Oh,
see better than Zeke.
the pass
Or at
blocking.
least the
Yeah.
speed for me. The
Well, the
speed is
reason why I say that, they're both Ohio State running backs and they both run so similar. So I see a whole lot of Zeke Elliott in his game. And I'm just like, man, if the Colts, if there was a guy that the Colts were all like, listen, JT, it's still your backfield, but this dude is the next him, it would be him. Now, is he going to be available in the fourth? Absolutely not. And if
no.
he is, then you take him. You take him twice on Sunday. You go to Vegas. You buy a lotto ticket. You do whatever you got to do to get him
If he
on the
was in the
team.
fourth, you should have traded up to the third to get him.
Yes,
Simple as that
yes.
for me.
Like, but to
Fuck
me,
that seventh round pick.
he's the best running back in the class, hands down. Besides Genty, he is right there.
Yeah, I really love. I don't know. I like Judkins too that they got over there though.
I think
Um,
Judkins should have stayed in school.
really?
Oh yeah, I think he should have stayed 1 year and been the bell cow.
Dave Stewart says the running back class is deep. We can get a guy in the fourth if we choose. Yeah, I'm just hoping, Dave, that we don't miss out on a running back like last year. I wish we would have took one and we didn't. She said that Ash said that mock also had us taking Scatterboo out of
At 152.
152. Jeez.
I wouldn't be mad if we took Scatterboo. I would love Scatterboo just because,
If
I think
we
that
got Burke in the fourth, and then we got
this,
Scatterboo in like
this
close to
draft,
the sixth,
this draft is
that'd be
nuts, man.
crazy.
I think that the NFL is going to have to expand and add two teams here because the talent that's coming out now is so ridiculous that, like,
Mm,
I think we're getting to the point where, like, you're going to have to expand and create a 34 league team, or you're going to have to create a feeder system. And, like, hey, if you don't get drafted, you got US or XFL deals or USFL deals waiting, and you've been assigned to these teams because, like, it is stupid with the amount of talent coming out.
see, I would agree, but teams still end up with like 2-3 wins every year. So I don't
Well,
think
that's coaching. I think that's coaching because I look at like players and I'm all like, bro, there ain't no way. Like, you can't tell me this. Besides the Giants, you can't tell me that the Raiders are that bad.
Well,
Or this,
they were last year because they lost a lot of what they were supposed to have, and then quarterback play fell
right.
off.
Or the Saints are that bad. Like, you
Well,
can't tell me that a team like New Orleans is that trash.
I
It's
don't know,
got to be
bro.
it's got to be coaching.
They started 2-0, and then they went 2-8.
Right.
Like,
But it's got to be coaching. Like,
no, that was injuries. They got hurt
sure.
after like the what was it? I don't know if it was Alvin Kamara, but I know Derek Carr got hurt at one point. They went through like four different quarterbacks throughout the season, and obviously I don't think Dennis Allen is a good coach anyway, a good head coach at least. She said that was on Pro Football Network. And then you got like teams like the
PFF?
Patriots. No, Pro Football Network. So that's the one where we started doing our mock drafts at.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Um, and then who was it? The Patriots. You know, they were pretty much reloading. And so they fired a coach that probably shouldn't have been fired. So I mean, I want to say I think it's a mixture of different things. I think it goes to every team. Some is coaching, some is players, some is injuries. I just think there's plenty of things that can have a team be one of those teams that are just off, and being one of those kind of failures of the draft class and whatnot. But I don't think it's I don't think it could be enough for the NFL to be like, all right, let's add two teams. Two teams. I think it would be somebody have to be like big billionaires coming in with a lot of money
I just
that
look at it and
could
I'm
add
like,
to, like, you would need to add two more huge markets for them to be like, all right, let's do this.
I just see how much talent is coming in this draft, and I'm all like, dang, man, the talent is so good that how are these? Like, that's what I said. Like, with the Chiefs dynasty, how are we even having a dynasty in football? Dog, there's no way. These teams are that freaking good talent wise. You guys like any in the state college players from
Hey,
IU
what's
got
up, Stacy?
Kamara went back to IU, so he didn't play. He's not coming out. He's going back to IU. And
Kamara?
Hartwig from the Alvin Kamara or no, the
Is
D
that
end from
the
Kamara.
is that the edge rusher?
Yeah, he went
Okay.
back to IU, and then Hartwig. Last time I saw, he was undrafted. Like he had an undrafted rating on him. But hey, his dad played pro or his uncle played pro ball, so I mean, clearly he's got the pedigree. He knows what it takes. So it'll be interesting to see if he does go pro. But
Yeah, Ash, the free agent period starts March 10th, but that's the illegal tampering period, and then
legal
doesn't start
tampering.
officially, yeah, legal tampering, my bad. Doesn't start officially until the 12th. Um I think so I think the good thing about, some of the in-state guys is like you had a coach come in, like Sig, and you get a lot of talent out of those guys. So I think they'll. I wouldn't say this year there's a ton. I like Curtis Rourke. I think he's a gamer. If somebody gets him later
He's
on
gonna
in the
he's
draft,
gonna go up to Canada. He's gonna be the top pick in Canada. He's
is
not
he?
playing. Yeah, he's not gonna play in the NFL.
I thought he was going to end up going to the draft because I think he'd be a good late round, fifth round pick for somebody
Uh,
that'll kind of if there was ever a game he needed to come in, he reminds me of one of those like Gardner Minshew type, like get a
right.
team hype for a couple games type of guy. Just because you love the way the kid can be.
I
Um,
mean,
but Davis saying here with the because it's going back to what you said, Zach, with the high level of talent coming out of college, if the league doesn't expand, as you say, the average age will get lower as older guys are cut to make room for the talent.
right. Yeah.
I
Like
mean,
I
I think that's always what it's been though. Like, when we see like people go crazy and they be like, how does D Hop get to the Chiefs? Or how does Von Miller get traded? Or how does
right.
Khalil Mack end up with this team? I think that's always been the thing because like if you're one of the better teams, you got to remember, like they're always looking to replace guys. They
Sure.
like it's
He's
not like
doing
with the Colts, like where it's like we like our guys. The teams that continuously either get better or change a lot are the ones that you're like, wow, how did he end up trading this guy, or why did this guy get traded for a bag of
yeah.
chips? It's because you want that younger, like as you guys are talking about right now,
Yeah.
younger talent that's coming out in the draft. It's like, why would I keep this old guy that I got to pay a lot more for when I can go
Right.
give me a third round pick of another
I mean,
talented player? So
it's like you're saying, it's basic business. It's
yeah,
hey, I can get top tier for mid range price. Like I can get two guys for the price of one, essentially. That's why I look at it and I was like, bro, either this talent is going to be so crazy here in the next few years that the NFL is going to be forced to expand, because I believe that's what it's going to come down to. Like you said, guys are going to get older, but like their play still hasn't fallen off. I mean, my gosh, D Hop still balled out in the Super Bowl, even though like they were trash. I mean, Von Miller is still solid, even though he's a situational pass rusher now. So like, there's always going to be a role for those guys. But I look at it like the NFL is going to be forced to do something within the next 3 to 5 years, either
but
expand
you know,
and or create a feeder system or work something out with the XFL, saying, hey, if you're anything past a fifth round pick. So if you're a sixth or seventh round pick or an undrafted guy and you get cut at a colt at training camp, you can go play in the spring league for 2 years or a year, the USFL, and then come back and you'll automatically have a training camp invite, and we'll see if you can still make the team. That type stuff. I think that's got to be offered here soon, because I mean, it's going to be nuts because I truly believe, besides quarterback, because how few there are that are actually legit, you could probably get some dudes off the street and they could come in and probably play and be just as good as those guys you have at a camp roster within a couple years. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I just feel like, I mean, if you got some big money that's gonna come in and do it, because I think it's always gonna go back to the money.
Right.
I think like if you have some teams that are coming in with their own equity
Yeah.
enough to actually, get their team, purchase their team, own it, get the land or whatever they need,
Right.
build the stadium. You ain't got to ask for city help and stuff like that. There's only a few people. I know there's a few guys, like Tom Brady, LeBron, guys that are starting to get ready to start owning real teams and stuff like that can put together some investment groups to be able to do it. But I just think about like that portion of it, and then like you got to have a large market because Vegas is already gone to the Raiders. Do you really want to add another team there? It's like there's not too many large
I
markets
think
enough
I
that
think
people want to look
the next two expansion cities. I do think Chicago would get another expansion city.
at.
I
Another
know, like
team.
people. Oh yeah, if you're going to give if you're going to give New York essentially three teams and they've been trash, you can't sit here and tell me we're not going to put another trash team in Chicago. And then I also believe that they will go back to San Diego because San Diego still wants their team back. They want the Chargers. They want a team back in San Diego. I feel like those are the most two realistic markets because
California don't need no more teams though.
Chicago is the fourth biggest media market in America, and for whatever reason, the NFL loves putting teams in California. So
Yeah, I think California got enough team, and
I think
Chicago would be
that
crazy. It'd be like, do you really want to have another team out there?
that's my only argument. Like, what you have the Bears, but my God, the Bears have been ass since 2006, bro.
I feel
Like
like
they
it should be a
like
place where there already isn't a team.
you put it in Omaha, Nebraska, or Oklahoma. Like football crazy Oklahoma or football crazy Nebraska because there ain't shit in either of those places. Or you put it, and I truly believe they'll put it back in California. I really believe San Diego will get a team before any other small market team would.
I definitely, I could, I think those places would be kind of crazy to have them. But I just think it'd have to be teams that already don't have markets. I feel like there's too many shared markets already. Like
I
you got
agree.
there's two teams in Dallas, or not Dallas, two teams in
Texas.
Texas, three
No.
teams in California. Three teams in Florida,
No. Three
two
teams in New
teams in
York.
New York.
Three.
Oh yeah, Buffalo. I'm tripping. My bad.
Buffalo. Yeah.
Three teams in New York. So like all the major markets already have multiple teams. So it's like
Except Chicago. That's why I think they'll put another one in Chicago because it's
fair
basically the
point.
Bears.
But I
That's why
mean
I
like
believe
but I feel
that's
like
the full.
I feel like that team would end up being like the ugly redheaded stepchild, like
Hey,
the Rams and the Chargers both being in
sure.
LA. Like
But
nobody really cares. Like they don't have
but
real fans.
if they win, I guarantee you people will be like, the Bears who? Because the biggest knock on Chicago is they can't win. They consistent. They are the lovable losers. The Cubs, the Bears, Northwestern football. My God, like Chicago is the White Sox. Chicago literally is the land of the losers. The Blackhawks, they've been trash since forever. I feel like so that
So why put another one in there?
why not? Money talks, my guy. If you got a guy who's from freaking the
I mean,
the north side of Chicago and has $1 billion and comes to you and says, "Mr. Sanderson, I love your product. I love the NFL. Here's a $2 billion, and oh, by the way, I have this suburb ready to be built here on the north side of Chicago where I can put a stadium and build it with my own money. I'm ready. Take my money. You're going to take your money. Like, you're going to take the money. The NFL's all about the dough. That's why it's the only market and I believe that doesn't have a second team that will get a second team, unless there's some bylaws about the Bears not or about Chicago only being the only team in that market. I truly believe that Chicago will get a second team when they expand again. It'll be Chicago or San Diego before they even touch another small market.
I mean, I wouldn't be totally mad at it. I just would rather see, some teams that are some states that don't have teams already. That would be what I would really like to get to. It's
Oh,
kind of just like how, like, me being a Laker fan, like, everybody hates the Lakers, everybody hates the Cowboys, everybody, like, any of those teams that are larger markets. Obviously, like, the Florida
right,
teams haven't really made it big enough to where nobody really hates them. And then the
right,
Jags, or not the Jags, the Jets and the Giants have both sucked long enough that too many people just kind of, it's like they laugh at them. It's not really a
right.
hate for them. So, I like what you're saying. I wouldn't be totally mad at two more teams that suck. And can can spread out some of maybe them draft picks, or another team to hopefully that can make some changes or whatever. But I just would rather see them and not
Well,
necessarily smaller markets. Obviously, they would have to be smaller markets, because if the way that I was thinking about it, they'd go to cities that aren't necessarily all that big, but
like
basically not going to big cities already.
the only areas that don't really have NFL representation, in my opinion, are like the Nebraska, Oklahoma. Do you put a team back in St. Louis to cover that Midwest, to cover that
There you
mid
go.
area?
There you go.
I
That could be
mean,
another one.
you put a team back in St. Louis. I mean, there you go.
I know a lot
I
of people
also
out there want one now.
I do believe that they will go out on the West Coast. I say, hey, put one back in San Diego because, bro, it's San Diego. It's freaking beautiful. Or you put a team. Do you put a team up in Oregon to compete with the Seahawks, the Sea Chickens?
Could you put a
Like that's
team in
just
Canada?
would you? Would you step on the CFL Canadian? Because if it goes Canada, it's got to go to It's got to go to Toronto. But then you're stepping in. You're encroaching on Baltimore or on Buffalo, because that's literally like 15 minutes up the road.
But what's the difference between that and having like the Toronto Raptors in the NBA?
In my opinion, nothing. Like nothing.
Mhm.
It just depends on would the Canadians be okay with an American football because they have Canadian football, and B, is there a Canadian market for American football?
Yeah.
Because like Canada is such a hockey crazed country, which I love the game of hockey. Like it's become my second favorite sport. So, like you're not going to hear me say anything negative about hockey. It's just one of those things. Like I kind of feel like if you go and do that, then you're asking a lot of Canada. Hey, you're going to join. We're going to put a team here. They got to play indoors because no one wants to play in the snow in Canada. Like
I don't know. They better like it. Get used to it. Get some maple syrup. Y'all going up there.
yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know too much about all the teams moving and whatnot, but I just hope whatever happens with that market. I don't know what they do with divisions and whatnot, but we just got to make sure that we get back to drafting better and building this team correctly, so we can get back to competing, because then we'd be going from pick 14 to pick 12 with more teams in the draft. So we got to make sure that we do our part to, stop being irrelevant every off season.
That's facts.
Yes, sir.
That's big facts.
All right, folks. We appreciate everybody coming in for the night. Hope everybody has a great rest of your weekend. As always, go Colts.
Go Colts. Deuces.
Where's my thing?
Oh no. There it is.
Second down, he fakes the Taylor, fires over the middle, completes. Pittman